So hey guys, and welcome to the Spotlight. In this video, I'm going to be telling about how to look at a rocket and infer various things from it. So this channel is everything related to space. So if it's your kind of thing, be sure to subscribe. First, let's talk about rockets in general. Here's the most obvious part. Its engine on the flamey end. And this fuel tank to which the engine is attached is the first stage fuel tank, and it, along with the engine and the avionics and other systems, is called the first stage of the rocket. And differently colored portion on the rocket is the interstage, separating the first and the second stage. After stage separation, the first stage is left to its own fate, while the second stage takes over and starts propelling the rocket. It has its own engine specially designed for vacuum. That big bulbous pointy thing of the rocket, which is quite iconic in identifying rockets, it's called the payload fairing. Well, since the payload is very fragile and it's not made aerodynamically, it needs to be covered by a protective shell which would protect it during the ascent through the atmosphere. After the rocket has cleared the atmosphere and the rocket is now in space, there is no need to protect the payload from any air resistance. So, poof! We ditch the fairing and there is our beautiful satellite. Well, those are some of the most basic parts of a rocket. Let's look at some of the more specialized parts of your favorite rockets. Look at these two images. One is the PSLV, which is the workhorse of the ISRO or Indian Space Research Organization, and the other one is the beloved Falcon Heavy. If you notice, besides a single first stage, there are other small rockets attached to the sides of the central structure. Well, for both of them, it's a different case. For Falcon Heavy, there are totally 3 reusable and independent Falcon 9s acting as a first stage. All the 3 boosters are each equal to 1 rocket. As for the PSLV, the smaller side boosters are solid rocket boosters, meaning they burn solid fuel instead of the typical liquid ones used by normal rockets. And they aren't even independent, nor reusable. They cannot act as independent rockets since they lack avionics and flight computers. They help get an initial boost at the time of liftoff and then they are ditched. Well, so now let's look at some of the more Falcon-y parts. If you look closely, you will be able to see the grid fins, which look like this. And if you look more closely, actually not more, less closely, you'll be able to see the landing legs. How can we end this video without talking about the most iconic rocket on Earth? The space shuttle.
The center brownish component is the external fuel tank for the orbiter's engine so that it has enough fuel to carry out its mission when in orbit. The 2 white boosters on the sides are the solid rocket boosters similar to that in the PSLV. But this time, they're just much bigger. Much bigger. And then the most important part is the orbiter with its RS-25 engines. There's the payload bay for any satellites. And there's the cockpit. That's where the humans went, I guess. Then there are the delta wings for generating lift when the space shuttle was landing.